Hello, Watchman of Ephraim, or Rick. Hopefully, a short teaching, a short witness, something I wanted to share that I caught in my nightly readings of the Torah. Now, I have witnessed, and scholars know, so-called scholars know that Egypt and ancient Israel's slavery in Egypt was a shadow of the bondage of the world in sin. I want to show you a little witness here, a few verses in Exodus chapter 2 that Paul picked up on. And witnessed in an end time fulfillment of the shadow bondage of these Israelites who represent the world being delivered from the bondage of sin in three phases. Could have made this a long video, but I don't want it to be long. See, when I read these verses in Exodus 2, see if you can pick up on where this Torah guy, this expert in the Torah that has people's, most people don't know where Paul got his doctrine. Such doctrine as not being under the law as written by Moses, but being given the righteousness of God without the Torah as written by Moses, by the things that are written in the Torah as written by Moses, in allusions and references, that has mainstream Christianity deceived and the Hebrew roots deceived. They don't know where he got it. It's buried in allusions and dark sayings, mysteries. He truly said, we are stewards of the mysteries, the sacred secrets, the hidden truths of God. 1 Corinthians 4, I do believe. Stewards of them. See if you can catch this. So Paul will take it to these couple of verses to a much greater expanded level, witnessing the deliverance of mankind and the whole universe, the whole creation, by this enslavement of these shadow people in a shadow bondage. If I could just take a minute. I think to try to get this more across here. Well, let me just pull this one up here. It's a little image, but I don't want to waste too much time here. Here we go. That's good enough. A world held captive. A world in bondage. A creation in bondage. Where do you hear those words? Creation, world, in bondage. Let's see if you can, it's not hard. Exodus. This is why it's very important. I recommend that when you read read the Word, try to read a couple of chapters of the Torah every day. When you do your New Testament gospel and and epistle readings. Notice Exodus 2:23-25. Now it happened in the process of time that the king of Egypt died. It's a type of Satan. And just another one took his place. This is when Moses fled Egypt. He's in the land of Midian. Notice, then the children of Israel groaned because of the bondage, and they cried out. And their cry came up before God because of the bondage. So God heard their groaning, and God remembered his covenant with Abraham, with Isaac, and with Jacob. And God looked upon the children of Israel, and God acknowledged them. Did you? Let me read most of this again. Then the children of Israel groaned because of the bondage, and they cried out. And their cry came up before God because of the bondage. So God heard their groaning, and God remembered his covenant. Where in Paul's readings, epistles, where in one of his epistles do you hear the words groan, bondage? Which this word, Hebrew word bondage, can be translated labor, slavery, labor, bondage, labor, groaning. These children of Israel, Jacob, these children of Abraham, who is a shadow of, I'm going to do a video. It's going to be probably pretty long. The mystery of Abraham, who he is and his descendants. This covenant that God would promise to be their God. And you can read this in chapter 6. Of Exodus. With Isaac and with Jacob. And God looked upon the children of Israel and acknowledged them. Where do you see or read the words bondage, groaning, labor? Well, Paul never added or took away from God's word. That would have been a great sin. Deuteronomy 4:2, you shall not add nor take away from these words. See if you can. Israel. Getting ahead of myself. Israel. A shadow of what? Coming out of Egypt, the world, in 3 phases. 3 times a year shall all your males appear before me, and they shall not appear before me empty-handed. 3 phases of the world being circumcised, each in their own order. Paul takes those verses in chapter 2 to its end fulfillment. See if you see the similarity. For the creation was subjected to futility, not willingly, but because of him who subjected it in hope. Right? Who was responsible for bringing those people down to Egypt? He told Abraham ahead of time. He told Jacob, don't fear to go down to Egypt when Joseph sent his sons back up to get him. I will make of you a great nation there. and I will deliver you. Because the creation itself also will be delivered, notice, from the bondage of corruption or futility, vanity, into the glorious liberty of the children of God. In chapter 3, God tells Moses, I've come down to deliver my people. How did he do it? He did it through Moses. How's he going to do it this time? Through the children of God, through the firstborn ones, beginning with the Messiah and his bride. The Messiah and his bride, the firstborn ones. These Spirit God, the extension of God himself, these Spirit God beings, composed fully of the Spirit of the one and only God, the fullness of God dwelling in them. Saviors are coming to Mount Zion. And they're going to deliver the creation from the bondage of corruption. Do you see? Let me go on here. For we know that the whole creation, now notice, groans and labors with birth pangs until now. Not only that, but we also who have the first fruits of the Spirit, the firstborn ones, those in the first resurrection, the priesthood, even we ourselves, now notice, groan within ourselves, eagerly waiting for the adoption, the redemption of our body. Once again, into what? Huios sons, mature sons of the living, the only God. God all in all. God beings. God is reproducing himself. Although you get this now by faith, it's imputed to you. The reality is we're still in our bodies of sin and we groan. We're waiting for the redemption. You see that? Do you see it? You see where Paul got his words, and you see how it slips out from the so-called scholars who have discarded the Torah. The Torah is God's master plan to save humanity. I put them together here. I just forgot to let me. Yeah, I didn't. Let me enlarge these words here. Well, that didn't go. All right. Let me see if I can enlarge these words. Let me see here. All right. Shadow. Now it happened in the process of time that the king of Egypt died. Then the children of Israel, notice, groaned because of the bondage. And their cry came up to God. So God heard their groaning. Shadow. Not the real thing. They were not the real thing. Scholars will tell you that Egypt is a type of humanity enslaved in the world. But ask them who they represent when they come out. Well, it's the church. Only a few are going to be saved. But what did he do when he brought them out? He divided them into a priesthood who occupy the shadow and copy of the heavenly realm. the holiest of holies, representing the third heaven, which you have access to now. You've been raised with the Messiah. And then you have the surrounding nations. This is going to be the Melchizedek priesthood. And you're going to have the nations grafted in, the common people of the land. Priesthood, now in this age, common people of the land in the next age, and then at the end of 7,000 years, there must be a release and forgiveness of debts. The second resurrection. So God heard their groaning. So you have bondage, you have groaning. Because now the fulfillment, because the creation itself also will be delivered from the bondage of corruption into the glorious liberty of the children of God. Saviors are coming. For we know that the whole creation, what? Groans and labors with birth pangs together until now. Even we ourselves, the first fruits, groan within ourselves, waiting for the adoption, the redemption of our bodies, being bought back literally. We have it now by faith, the Passover. That's why in chapter 6, I do believe, the memory is terrible, God tells Moses doubts. He says, I'm going to deliver them. I'm going to redeem my people with a mighty hand and an outstretched arm. Do you see it? Do you see where Paul got his words? Do you see the shadow? And do you see the end time fulfillment? And the scholars don't see it because they don't believe that the creation, the creature, will be delivered. This is also the Jubilee. You're going to receive the redemption of your bodies. Redemption also, Day of Atonement. Okay. You see it? Do you see? Creation is in bondage. It's going to be delivered. Every last fragment. Kinsman Redeemer, Revelation 5:8-14. The scroll, the title deed of the earth. And the three harvests. Now when he had taken the scroll, that's the first of the first fruits, the lamb, the barley harvest, the 4 living creatures and the 24 elders fell down before the Lamb, each having a harp and golden bowls full of incense, which are the prayers of the saints. And they sang a new song, saying, You are worthy to take the scroll, the title deed of the earth, the kinsman redeemer, buying back the earth, and to open its seals, for you were slain, and have what? Redeemed us to God by your blood, out of every tribe and tongue and people and nation, and have made us a kingdom of priests to our God. The what? First of the first fruits and the first fruits, the wheat harvest. Notice verse 13. And every creature which is in heaven and on the earth and under the earth, and such as are in the sea, the living, the dead, the spiritual beings, the wicked spiritual beings, I heard saying, and the righteous angels, blessing and honor and glory, the dead, all that have died, the creation, the creature, every created being. Blessing and honor and glory and power be to him who sits on the throne and to the Lamb for forever and ever, or unto the age of the ages. I don't know the exact translation here. Anyways, which one it is. Then the 4 living creatures said, Amen, and the 24 elders fell down and worshipped him who lives forever and ever, or into the ages of the ages. The greatest age, the 8th day, and the millennial age. Okay, now once again, this is something that I caught. I wanted to share. You can see the shadows, and then you can see the end fulfillment. God's going to release all of mankind from the bondage of corruption. First fruits first. Those, the second born, in the millennium, the second resurrection. Once again, you have a barley harvest, Messiah, wheat harvest, the first fruit saints, the priesthood, and then you have the grape harvest. Those in the millennium and the second resurrection. The whole creation delivered. Somewhere here. Best I could for the universe. Delivered from the bondage of corruption. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening.